Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the Mayo Media Network. My name's Griffin Swanson, and today I'm going to be breaking down the Thursday night football game between the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. Got a couple of prize picks here that I like for this game, and then we're going to dive into my spreadsheet, breaking down that DraftKings Showdown slate. But before we do that, if you could like this video here and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Y'all probably know this by now, but if not, the Mayo Media Network has football content coming out Monday through Sunday throughout the remainder of the season, so don't miss out on any of that. And for you podcast people, you can always go over to the Apple Pods or Spotify and find the content there. And while you're over there, leave a 5-star review. But with that being said, let's dive into this Thursday night game here, kicking it off with a couple of prize picks that I like. All right, so I'm over on the PrizePicks.com website here now. First and foremost, for those of you who have not signed up for PrizePicks yet, but are perhaps interested in doing so, I actually have two different promo codes that you can choose from for this Thursday night game. The first is the one that Pat and his team always have available. That's MMN, which stands for Mayo Media Network. If you use that promo code, you'll get up to a $100 match deposit upon signing up. Now, maybe you're thinking, well, I don't want to put $100 in. Maybe I just want to put in $25 or less. Then this second promo code is probably better off for you, which is MMN NFL. And if Mac Jones completes just one pass in this game, you'll get a $25 bonus after signing up. So two different codes. If you plan on signing up, take advantage of at least one of those. Again, the first being MMN, which you can get up to a $100 match deposit. Or the other one, if you don't want to deposit as much money, $25 or less, you can use MMN NFL. And if Mac Jones completes just one pass, you'll get a $25 bonus. With that being said, I got two picks here for this Thursday night game, and finding one on the Atlanta side wasn't easy, so I ended up just going with the stud here, Kyle Pitts, over 52.5 receiving yards. Now, this is a guy who can absolutely meet the over on this. He's done so in 4 of his past 5 games, averaging 67.3 receiving yards per game on the season. You know, pretty clear above this number at 52.5, and I'm looking at a few different projection sites as well, and all of them have him anywhere from 60 to 70 receiving yards in this game. My one cause for concern is Bill Belichick, and we've all seen this in the past from him, where he'll just hone in and focus on one offensive guy on the other side of the ball, pick the stud, eliminate him from the game, and make everyone else try and beat you. Well, that's Kyle Pitts here. He's the most athletic person on this offense, especially with Cordarrelle Patterson banged up heading into this game. He's dealing with an ankle sprain, and he's a game-time decision heading into this one. If he's out, then yes, all the focus will be on Kyle Pitts. So this is a better play if Patterson is in the game, but I still think he can hit the over here. He's talented enough to where he could realistically hit the over on 1 or 2 catches. So I'm going to take the over, but just note that Bill Belichick likely will be focusing in on him all game long. And then the pick that I like here on the Patriots side of things is actually going to be a fantasy score, and I'm going to take the over there on Hunter Henry at 7 fantasy points. I mean, that guy's hit the over in 7 of his past 8 games at this current number. Again, looking at these projection sites here, and every single one of them have him around 9 to 10 points in this game. Realistically, he scores 1 touchdown, he meets the over. He gets 6 points for a touchdown, 1 point for a reception, and it's got to be at least 1 yard. So if he scores a touchdown in this game, he already hits the over, and he actually leads the team with 7 touchdowns this year through the air. Been used a lot in the red zone, and I suspect that that's going to be the case here on Thursday night as well. So think this number is just a bit too low, and I'll take the over at 7.0. So to recap there, I'm going to take the over on Hunter Henry at 7 fantasy points, take the over on Kyle Pitts at 52.5 receiving yards, and we can approach this 2 different ways, the flex play or the power play. If you go the power play route, you will need all of your picks to hit, but it does increase the payout. And again, for those of you who want to sign up, don't forget we got 2 different promo codes that you can use. You can always use MMN and get up to a $100 match deposit. And for those of you who just want to put in $25 or less, you can use the code MMN NFL. And if Mac Jones completes just 1 pass in this game, you'll get a $25 bonus. But all right, now it's time to dive into the spreadsheet here, breaking down this DraftKings Showdown slate. As always, we'll kick things off here in the top left-hand corner with those Vegas odds. odds. You can see the Patriots are favored to win here on the road, sitting on a money line of minus 275. They're also 7-point favorites in this game. And then we got an over-under there of 47 points. A little higher than I thought it would be, but looks like there could be some sneaky shootout potential in this game as well. And then, as always, going to list out these showdown stats here from 2020. Let's pop on over to this other sheet. 6 different stats here that I want to go over in regards to the top 1% of showdown lineups from last year. So number one, 92% of all showdown lineups rostered at least one quarterback, and of the top 1% of lineups, 96% had a quarterback rostered as well. Number two, 33% of all lineups rostered a wide receiver at captain. Of the top 1% of lineups, 31.5% had a wide receiver at captain as well. Number three, 57% of the top 1% of lineups rostered a captain from the team favored to win. So in this example here, the New England Patriots. Number four, running back and opposing quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end was included in 88.9% of winning lineups that rostered a quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end from the other team at captain. Number five, ignore defense and kickers in the captain spot. Very rarely does that work. Only 1.1% of the time last year in the top 1% of lineups. And number six there, do not play more than 2 kickers or defenses in the same lineup. Usually one is fine. Now, hopping back over to this other spreadsheet here, going to go through some of my favorite DraftKings plays, but I want to mention this. There's definitely some uncertainty heading into this game. We don't know who the starting running back is going to be for the New England Patriots. Sounds like Damian Harris could be back. He is traveling with the team, so that's encouraging. Cordarrelle Patterson's going to be a game-time decision, battling an ankle injury. We're just at that point in the NFL season where injuries really start to build up here, and there's going to be a lot more game-time decisions. So obviously keep an eye on that. Very well could change the slate. Recording this on Wednesday, so I'm going with what I know right now. And what I know right now is Kyle Pitts is likely going to be the best player for the Atlanta Falcons heading into this game. I know Patterson has been good all year long, and I wish he was healthy because I would definitely consider him here in the captain spot. But battling a sprained ankle is just so tough in the NFL. He could very well play through it again. We got to keep an eye on that heading into Thursday night, but I'm going to roll with Pitts here. Like I said, most talented offensive player for the Atlanta Falcons. Now again, Bill Belichick will likely focus in on Pitts here, but he's still so athletic that he could realistically score a touchdown or two in this game, especially once they get towards the red zone. He's talented enough to where he can break a couple of tackles and make some big plays, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets boxed in this game as well, kind of shadowed by a cornerback, have a safety over the top. That would be my guess heading into this game, but like I said, Pitts is just too talented to ignore. Currently leads the team in targets at 20% and air yards at 30%. Kind of why I like the over at 52.5. And he's got 20 plus DraftKings point potential. We've seen that from him this year. Had a couple of games back to back where he went for 26 and 29 DraftKings points. The ceiling that you're looking for when it comes to your captain. So this realistically could kind of be a boom or bust play, but like I said, the best overall play and player for the Falcons on Thursday night. And then on the Patriots side of things here, I like Jacoby Myers, largely due to the uncertainty in the backfield here for the Patriots heading into Thursday night. I don't know if Damian Harris is going to play here. If he doesn't, Stevenson should start in his place again. And even if Harris does play, is Stevenson going to mix in? I think he played well enough last week. I mean, he played really well, actually, 30 DraftKings points, to where he could get 10, 12 touches in this game. So if Harris is out, then I by all means think Stevenson could be put in the captain spot. Hell, even if Damian Harris does play, you could probably gamble and put him in the captain spot as well, hoping he gets his normal workload. But again, just a little uncertainty heading into Thursday night. But what I do know is that Jacoby Myers will be fully healthy in this game, been the number one receiving option for Mac Jones all year long. Outside of getting in the red zone, then that becomes Hunter Henry territory, which is why I like the over at 7 fantasy points on PrizePicks. But Myers, in terms of statistics and numbers, been the clear-cut number one receiving option for Mac Jones this year. Leads the team in targets at 23%, air yards at 29%. He's also second on the team in red zone targets of around 17.5%. So he's still getting looks once they get down into the red zone. Hunter Henry's just been able to convert those into touchdowns a lot more frequently. And PFF, Pro Football Focus, is actually giving Myers here the best wide receiver cornerback matchup in this Thursday night game versus rookie cornerback Avery Williams. Williams, who plays out of the slot. So he's got a good matchup, should see a lot of opportunity. And like I said, due to the uncertainty in the backfield for the Patriots, I like Myers in the captain spot on the Patriots side of things. Now, hopping on down here to some of my favorite flex plays, and I got both quarterbacks listed right at the top. These are much better plays here. Obviously, if this game turns into a bit of a shootout, if it goes over 40, 45 points in this game, both these guys are certainly in play. But my one cause for concern is Atlanta doesn't show up in this game. That Patriots defense kind of locks them down. Well, then we're going to see the Patriots run the ball a lot, and Mac Jones really won't have to throw the ball a lot. We've really seen that happen over the past 2 games where the Patriots have kind of just dominated each of those games, and Jones has only combined for 41 pass attempts in his past 2. So that is my cause for concern with these quarterbacks. But if you've watched these videos in the past, you know I always revert back to this first statistic from last year. Of the top 1% of lineups, 96% of them had a quarterback rostered. So it almost makes sense to where we have to play one of these guys. You know, unless you think this game falls under that 4% from last year that didn't have a quarterback rostered. And like I said, if the Patriots defense shows up here, shuts down the Atlanta offense, it could be a very low-scoring game where the Patriots run the ball a lot, and they've done that to opposing QBs all year long, only allowing 15.9 DraftKings points per game to opposing quarterbacks, the second fewest in the NFL. So we're hoping for 40-plus points in this game. Then both these quarterbacks would certainly be in play, but if it falls short of that, could be one of those ugly games where neither of these guys put up massive DraftKings points. I then got Cordarrelle Patterson there of the Atlanta Falcons, and look, if he does end up playing in this game, it definitely makes Matt Ryan a better play as well. I just don't know if he is. He's a game time decision right now. I've mentioned it a few times already in this video, battling an ankle injury. Sounds like an ankle sprain, and sometimes it's really tough for these NFL players to come back from that, especially on a short week like this, playing on a Thursday. So we'll need to keep an eye on this one, but I had to talk about him because he's been awesome all year long, averaging 18 DraftKings points per game. You know, who knew it would take this long for Patterson to really find his game? He has, though, here with the Atlanta Falcons. He's averaging about 8.5 rush attempts per game and 5.5 targets as well. So involved in both the rushing side of the game and passing game, and he's just turned that into massive DraftKings point performances this year. He leads the team with 7 touchdowns as well, but he's shown some really nice upside. Had a few games in the 20s here, even one game at 35 DraftKings points. So if he does end up playing here, then he's definitely going to be a play on DraftKings as well. And like I said, it makes Matt Ryan a better play too. The next guy I got there then is Damian Harris, the running back for the New England Patriots. Now, I mentioned earlier, definitely some uncertainty at this position heading into Thursday night, but as I'm recording here on Wednesday afternoon, I got a note here that says, this was just 11 minutes ago as I'm recording, Harris, who sat out this past Sunday against the Browns due to a concussion, does not carry any injury designation for Thursday night's contest against the Falcons. So it sounds like he's going to be a full go. I by all means think you could put him in the captain spot as well, because this Atlanta defense has not been able to stop running backs all year long, allowing 29.1 DraftKings points per game, the 5th most in the NFL. However, Stevenson played so well last week that I think he's still going to get some carries here. Guy went for over 100 rushing yards, had 2 rushing touchdowns, 5 targets in that game as well, put up 30 DraftKings points. So I think he deserves some sort of role in this game. And while it might be minimal compared to Harris, you know, might be one of those showdowns where you can play both of them in the same lineup, because Atlanta's defense has been so bad at stopping running backs this year. But does sound like Harris is going to be a full go here, so he should resort back to RB1 duties for the Patriots. Next, I got Kendrick Bourne there, who's quietly leading all Patriots wide receivers this year in fantasy points scored, averaging 11.4 DraftKings points per game. Now, while he only may play 50% of the offensive snaps, he's been solid in that role all year long, damn near hitting double-digit DraftKings points in every single game, averaging about 4.5 targets per game, 52 receiving yards per per game and has scored 4 touchdowns as well. So I'm hoping he goes a little bit under-owned. Based off of these numbers here, I'm not entirely sure that he will, but maybe some people will look at this 50% offensive snap rate and be a little scared off of him. I'm not concerned about that. Like I said, he's been in this role all year long and been relatively productive with it. Now, considering the touchdown upside that Hunter Henry has, I think there's an argument that can be made for him to be put in the captain spot, especially if this game ends up being a little lower scoring, not a lot of touchdowns are scored in general. This guy is yet to top 20 DraftKings points yet this year, but has hit 19 DraftKings points twice, and that might just be enough in the captain spot if it ends up being a low scoring game. So, like I said, I think the argument can be made there. He leads all Patriots pass catchers this year with 7 touchdowns, largely due to his role in the red zone, where he's seeing 23.5% of the targets when they get into the red zone. Clearly been the number one target for Mac Jones once they get down there. So $7,000, pretty solid price tag here as well. If you put him in the captain spot, it's going to allow you to do a lot of things with the rest of your lineup, but either way, Henry is in play just due to his touchdown upside that we've seen all year long. Now we're going to get into a couple of these wide receivers here on the Atlanta Falcons side of things. With Calvin Ridley out, it's made for an interesting wide receiver core to say the least. Russell Gage is technically acting as wide receiver number 1 in this offense right now. He's second on the team in targets, around 15%, but this really is more of a boom or bust play. So this guy has played 6 games this year, right? And in 3 of those games, he scored 0 DraftKings points. I couldn't believe it at first. I was like, is something wrong here? Algorithm off? They just haven't updated something. That's true. He's scored 0 DraftKings points in 3 of 6 games. The other 3 games, he had 7.8, 13.4, and 16.7 DraftKings points. So this is a legit boom or bust type of play, but he will be on the field a lot, running a lot of routes, and like I said, acting as wide receiver number 1 with Calvin Ridley out. Now, I got just a little ahead of myself there. I said we're going to talk about a couple of Atlanta wide receivers, but got to talk about the Patriots defense here first before we mention Tajay Sharp and wrap it up. Patriots defense has been legit as of late. I mean, they're always legit, right? This is the Bill Belichick defense, but they've been very good here over their past 4 games, scoring at or above 11 DraftKings points in all 4, and they've only allowed 13 points to their opponents in 3 of their past 4 games. I mean, if Patterson doesn't play here, no Calvin Ridley, this could be their 4th game out of 5 where they allow fewer than 13 points. So they've been very good, racking up 8 interceptions, 11 sacks during that 4-game stretch, and definitely come into play here on Thursday night at this price of $5,600. And now we're going to wrap it up here with that other Falcons wide receiver, Tajay Sharp, who's basically acting as wide receiver number 2 in this offense right now, ever since Calvin Ridley has been out, playing about 76% of the offensive snaps in his past 3 games. Now, you could go with Zaccheaus here as well, probably a coin flip between the two, but yeah, not looking very good on the Atlanta offensive side of things outside of Pitts and Patterson, and they better hope that Patterson plays here if they want any shot at winning this game on Thursday night. But due to the amount of offensive snaps that he's playing and the number of routes that he's running, I don't mind Tajay Sharp here. You can probably tell the hesitation in my voice, but that's what we have to work with. You got Gage, Sharp, and Zaccheaus, who are acting as the top 3 wide receivers in this offense right now, with Calvin Ridley out. Otherwise, Patterson and Pitts are definitely your top 2 targets on the Atlanta side of things. All right, everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for this Thursday night football game. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch these videos. If you could like the video here and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Like I said, the Mayo Media Network has football content coming out Monday through Sunday throughout the remainder of the season, so don't miss out on any of that. And again, for those of you who want to sign up for PrizePicks, we got 2 different codes that you can use. You can always use the code MMN and get up to a $100 match deposit upon signing up, or you could use that other code MMN NFL upon sign up, and if Mac Jones completes just 1 pass on Thursday night, you'll get a $25 bonus. But let's enjoy this Thursday night game here, folks. Let's win a little money as well. I'm out of here.